As a relatively small and convenient scooter that sees almost daily use, I'm going to show you guys how well this little HR9 commuter from Gyroorboard has held up under my rough road conditions for the past 2 months. When Gyroorboard reached out to us to test this scooter, I informed them very clearly that I'm not the ideal customer simply due to my riding conditions. I don't have many good places for a commuter scooter in my town. However, they did seem pretty confident in its build quality and its capability to handle sidewalks that look like they've survived an aerial bombardment. So we've been testing that. The main reason this little scooter has seen so much use almost daily since I've owned it is because I immediately knew what I was going to use it for when it showed up. I love being outdoors, but it's no secret that my dog has a lot more energy than I do, and he needs to be taken on walks. It's daily, and these can't just be a walk around the block. He's a smooth coat border collie, and they're energetic dogs. Because this relatively lightweight scooter is so convenient to get in and out of the front door, it's something I can use every day to take him on long walks and relieve some of that stored energy. And because I don't mind cruising around town, especially on a nice day like this, it could make an excellent present to somebody with an active dog, both for their dog and for the owner. Just an important tip before we move on, remember that if you do plan on walking your dog on a bike or a scooter, remember where you're going. You can't feel what the tires are rolling over, but the dog can feel what he's walking over, so just keep that in mind. With this scooter being a budget-oriented category, I'm thankful that they went with the 380 watt motor instead of the normal 250 watts which you'll see on cheaper models. The scale at my doctor's office, which is open for debate, says that I weigh 210 pounds now. I would say I'm a bit on the tall and heavy side for a scooter like this, but it still has no problems getting me up to its top speed of 18 miles an hour on flat ground pretty quick. I don't take it anywhere where I know there's a steep hill. It just can't handle steep hills, at least not with me riding it. Now I'm tall at about 6'4", and the handlebars don't seem to be an issue. They're non-adjustable, and I was worried about that at first, but I don't feel like I'm reaching down or hunched over to keep the scooter under control. Thanks to feedback in the comment section of my previous electric vehicle videos, as we know that battery degradation is a thing, I waited to do my range test until after the end of the 2-month period, after it's already been through nearly 100 recharge cycles and taken Henry on his daily walks. And it turns out, with mixed riding this particular day, first walking Henry and then taking it for a nice short adventure to the end of town and back, I was able to get just over 16 miles before hitting 1 bar of battery, which is pretty good for a commuter scooter in my opinion. Although this was mixed riding conditions, a large portion of it was at full throttle, taking advantage of the 18 miles an hour. Although everyone's riding conditions are different, I would say with confidence that if your daily commute is a 10-mile round trip, you could easily pin the throttle in both directions without running out of battery or coming home with almost nothing left. If you have a commute that's beyond 10 miles round trip, I would recommend either taking the charger with you if you want to go full throttle all the time, or limiting yourself to its mid-speed range of 12 miles an hour, which is honestly where I ride it most of the time when I'm taking it to work, even though I'm not worried about the battery, simply because 18 miles an hour on this little scooter is something that you could easily get hurt on, so be careful. If you followed the channel for long enough, you'll note that most of my bikes and my off-road scooter tend to get filthy and generally neglected when it comes to regular cleaning. This one is the exception. Don't let its crisp appearance fool you into thinking I don't ride it much. I simply try to keep this one clean because my girlfriend has practically claimed it as her own. She loves this scooter. She's a lot lighter than I am and a bit shorter, and this fits her perfect. So I try to keep it clean just to keep her happy. As far as how well it's been able to handle my daily commutes when I do take it to work, so far nothing's fallen off the scooter or caused any major issues. I've done a few things which I would consider to be normal maintenance, such as retightening the bolts for the kickstand as it did start to come loose, and I also retightened the headset clamp to prevent the wheel from getting cockeyed when you go over rough terrain. That's pretty much it. Everything else on this so far has been trouble-free. One nice little feature about this that I didn't realize when I first got the scooter is that the regen braking on the front is dynamic. It'll never lock up the front tire, but it actually will apply more braking force the harder you squeeze the brake lever. This might seem obvious to a lot of people, but keep in mind that it has to know how far you're pulling the lever to know how much pressure to apply to the front motor. And that's something that even my Varla, a $1,600 scooter, doesn't have. Its electronic braking is pretty harsh, but this one is smooth, and the harder you squeeze that lever, the faster it'll stop you. And from 18 miles an hour with me weighing 210 pounds, it stops me pretty quick. Although I'm mostly a bike guy, and this channel is for bike enthusiasts, I find myself riding these electric scooters more and more, simply due to their convenience. It's just so easy to hop on and go if you don't feel like dealing with issues on the bikes. Their size is easy to fit into places, and although I wouldn't recommend this particular scooter for somebody with my riding conditions, height, or weight, I have no problems recommending this to somebody who lives with much better riding conditions. Especially if you have bike paths or smooth sidewalks, this could definitely be ideal. They do have other options for $100 more. I would like to look into their option with front suspension and a 500 watt motor, which I think would be better suited for my riding conditions. But as a glorified dog walker, this thing is perfect, and that's what it sees most of its use for. Being that this is only a short 2-month review, we'll eventually have a long-term review after we've had many more miles on it. Look forward to that in a handful of months. But given the fact that it's been able to withstand my rough riding conditions, which tend to accelerate wear and tear on items, I'm confident that somebody with smoother roads would get a lot more mileage out of it than I will. Coming in at a price of $430 at the time of recording this video, I feel that this is a great value for the scooter. It's a solid build, has everything it needs and nothing it doesn't. Just enough power to get the job done as long as you don't live in a very hilly environment. Its relatively stylish but simple design will allow you to store it inside because of its small footprint without it looking out of place. I appreciate that they didn't get all flashy with its design. When stored inside the house, it pretty much blends in, and you can forget that it's there. Its charger is tiny and lightweight, so it's easy to pack up and take with you if you have longer commutes. And its charge time is really short. I find it only takes 2 to 3 hours to charge it after I've used about half the battery. 4 to 5 for an empty battery, but I usually never get it that low. I try to keep my electric vehicles above 1 battery, only taking them lower if I'm doing a range test. This is just to help them last longer. So although I don't have much experience with electric vehicles yet, I would say that Gyro did a good job on this scooter, and I'm impressed for what it is. I hope you guys got some useful information out of today's video, or at the very least were mildly entertained. And until next time, ride safe.